Why would you ever decide that theater is the route
Like, what a segue.
for you?
Theater is the route? I don't know. Let's just start out with that one. I started acting when I was 5, 6, when I moved to Minnesota as a kid. And my mom thought it would be a good way for me to...
Well, she was wrong.
Good for you. I guess good is just not the... My mom thought I'd be good. Sucks. That stinks.
That sucks for you that she believed in you.
Yeah. Who needs support?
Oh, jeez. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Wait, okay, but actually the Minnesota part I didn't know about.
You didn't know that I lived in Minnesota?
I don't remember that piece of information.
I have been... I feel like I have like an actual like basically a line, like a monologue that I tell people because it's just I've told the story so many times that I've moved all over. But I was born in Chicago, grew up in Minnesota, and then my family moved to New Mexico, and I went to school in New Mexico, and then I knew I wanted to move back to Chicago after college, so that's what I did, and so then it was just a full circle. So
New Mexico is not like a natural transition from
No,
Minnesota.
It's very opposite.
Those aren't connected in any way.
No, my mom works in hospitals, and she had a doctor friend who moved down there, and they went and visited, and they kind of liked it, and my mom was in between jobs and ended up getting an offer from a place down there. Okay. And they're like, let's switch it up, and a big switch up, but then they ended up not liking it as much after being there for 6 years. And so now they live in Wisconsin. Like right after I moved back to Chicago in like 2020. So that's when I moved there, but then they moved back in like 2021, I think. But yeah, I was like an hour and a half from Canada. And then in college, I was 40 minutes from New Mexico. From Mexico. You don't like Canada?
Okay, it's fine.
Okay.
I actually used to be in high school. I thought it was fun to be like really anti-Canada, but I realized eventually I didn't have any reasons.
How do I fit in? Let me just like, yes, Canada stinks.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, Canada. But I realized that one day I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't have any personal.
People are like, dude, like, okay, you're being kind of weird. Like,
yeah.
It's all right.
Why are you being so rude to Canadians? I'd be like,
they're the nicest people.
Canada, like really dumb, obnoxious stuff.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, we all made fun of a lot of different things. I feel when we were young, especially other people. I feel like young kids today still they point out all your insecurities, and you're like, yeah, dude. Thanks.
Are you talking about young kids pointing out your current insecurities?
No, just...
Or you're remembering them pointing out your insecurities then?
As a kid?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I was... I had a great time in middle school. Really great. I looked a lot different than I did now, but it was a fun time, to say the least, when it wasn't the most fun. Yeah. But
you weren't even Scottish then.
Dude, I'm not Scottish at all. I'm not even Irish.
I thought you were Scottish.
No. I have that Scotland sweatshirt. My girlfriend got it for me as a gift, but I look Scottish, so it fits.
What are you?
I'm German, Dutch, and Czech. So I'm white, and whiter, and the sun loves me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I give off my like own UVs if you can't tell by my legs.
So we actually haven't even introduced ourselves. I'm Hunter Johnson. I'm the artistic director of Silverstage Theater Company. This is SilverPod. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Chervinko. I'm an actor, artist, person, whoever you want me to be, living in Chicago, Illinois. And Hunter and I met doing a show in Chicago. And a few of us, another guy, Jerome, who's not here, but we all kind of stayed connected really well, and we're all buddies still. So here we are. He asked me to do this, and I was like, yeah, why not?
That's true. We met in a show called Trade Federation. It was a Star Wars stage parody. It was a occasionally funny show starring other people, and then we were also there.
We were in there a little bit.
We were a comedic duo. I was Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this was Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
And we just showed up every once in a while.
I felt like we portrayed it more as like a Boston intern or something. I don't know. Like, it definitely wasn't the normal.
A Boston intern?
No. A boss and an intern. A Boston intern. Both of us are just Boston temps in Phantom Menace.
Yeah. But lightsaber handling was cool. We didn't really do any lightsaber combat, but we did get to do some lightsaber
Hey, you get to like legit ones where they can actually light up and stuff. I was like,
they're
okay,
pretty
this
cool
is kinda
lightsabers. Yeah, because we didn't fight like our characters, but other characters used the lightsabers to fight.
Yeah,
like they were combat.
They
sabers.
did moves. Yeah.
It
was nice. I was really glad that we got lightsabers. I mean, obviously, we were gonna get them, but. You know, when you're in shows or anything and it's like, that's not your prop, don't touch it. Like, that's a prop. Like, man, right. I would have really wanted to touch that prop if it wasn't mine.
Yeah. So, do you remember the voice you used for Qui-Gon? Did you? I don't remember.
I think I just talked more like properly. I don't think I did anything.
I think it was more of a subtle thing.
Yeah, I don't think I did anything like crazy.
You didn't go full Liam Neeson.
I don't think I can go full Liam
Neeson.
Yes. But no, I think it was something like that. Just trying to be more like, is it ethereal? Like, yes, young Padawan.
I think I just made myself sound younger.
Yeah, I was like a punk little dude.
Yeah, I was playing like a punk 14-year-old Obi-Wan. Get him, Qui-Gon!
He was like that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, jeez, man.
Man. That was such a crazy...
I could have gone full, like...
Scooby-Doo? Shaggy?
I don't know why.
I think we did what we were meant to do in that. I mean, they're not in it a ton in that play. But I think they're important to the story, which was about it's been so long.
It was about Gungans and the Trade Federation and taxes and like state fraud. And basically all the political scenes from Phantom Menace that everybody loves. Escalate that to 1,000.
Yeah, well, that's the main focus. So it's like the main focus is the politics, and then the other stuff is just like it feeds into it.
Right. Yeah.
The overall arcing plot of that.
It was a thing. It was something. And we never did get the recording of that show.
No, we still never did. Oh,
I've emailed them like 6 times.
That's okay.
Not that I want to share it with anybody, but like for my own.
I would love to see our scene that we
I'd love to see
come up with
if it was actually any good.
Was it funny? Was it?
Fun fact, that was one of 3 times that summer that I played Obi-Wan.
Oh, didn't you do like a reading or something? You did like the Shakespeare,
I did
Star Wars Shakespeare readings?
Yeah, Star Wars Shakespeare by Ian Dosher. I did the reading of that. We met 3 times with that group, and I was playing old Obi-Wan in that. And I didn't do like a Alec Guinness voice, but I did do my classic old man voice.
Very Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Right.
Did you go British?
Where doth thou go, Luke?
Is that how they would do it? Like that?
It was like Shakespeare talk.
Okay.
Like it was written as if William Shakespeare wrote it.
It was an iambic pentameter?
Yes, it was full iambic pentameter, 5 acts, very long. And like,
wait, was it just one of the movies or was it like the whole story?
He has done all 9 movies.
Yeah, I've seen that they did it all, but did you do...
We did the first one.
Which is A New Hope?
A New Hope. We did A New Hope. We did all 5 acts. We didn't cut anything. It took us 3 sessions to do it. And yeah, it was a lot. But it was so good. Ian Dosher is such a good writer, and he like loves Shakespeare. Like this wasn't a joke. I mean, it was a joke.
This guy's a nerd, but like in a good way.
This guy just loves Shakespeare and he loves Star Wars, so he decided to put them together. And so yeah, it's ridiculous and stupid but it's also really passionate.
Yeah, I really wonder how long that must have taken him. I mean, the plot's there, but like taking characters and so I guess like most of the work is done for him in some sense, but like if the dialogue and the nature of it is completely 180.
Yeah, and sometimes he writes new scenes. Like, because Shakespeare loves writing, like, small characters.
Random characters that you see once, and you're like, why did they come?
Right. So
why are they there?
I think, he does this thing where he loves giving stormtrooper scenes. So, like, you'll just cut from the main story, and just 2 stormtroopers are talking, like, like the jesters in Shakespeare plays.
So are they funny?
Like
are they,
they're funny. They're like comedic side stories, or they're really devastating like side stories.
Mm-hmm. They kind of do that in Mandalorian a little bit with
bit.
some of the stormtrooper. Like there's that one scene where they're like trying to shoot that target and they both keep missing.
Yeah,
like,
that's Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, yep.
And I don't remember who the other one is.
I don't know.
But that's Jason. So that was my second Obi-Wan. My third time playing Obi-Wan that summer was at the same theater we did Trade Federation for their Star Trek.
Right, because you guys were kind of promoting.
Yeah,
promoting the show with their other improvising.
They asked a couple actors from Trade Federation to come over to their Star Trek show. It's an improv show over at Otherworld Theater Company. Really fun show. And did like a Star Trek Star Wars crossover. So me and two of the other actors in our show, and we had to play characters, and I didn't know I was playing Obi-Wan at first, but we decided like within like 30 minutes of starting the improv rehearsal that I'm like, all right, I'm going to play Obi-Wan again, but this time as an old man. So that's the only time that I've live done the...
You did the voice?
I did the voice. It's me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh my goodness. Just very animated, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, in that situation, that's, I think, what is
Right.
meant to happen.
And I was drinking during that performance.
No.
So Otherworld Theater Company is a bar.
Yes.
And I don't recommend this during a performance, but it was an improv show. And
everyone was doing it.
Otherworld Theater Company is a theater and a bar, and they were selling a Star Wars like vodka-based drink. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a blue drink. Mm-hmm. It was like a blue milk looking drink just because of Star Wars.
Like
and so I wanted Obi-Wan to be drinking the blue milk throughout the show, and he gets gradually more and more just unhinged over the course of the show. And I think there were 3 different moments during the show on stage that the audience gets to see me finish a glass.
So you had more than one? How many drinks did you have?
I think I had 3 during the course of that.
Nice.
That 1 hour show.
And how'd it go?
Oh, I don't remember.
Crushed it. I crushed it. I crushed it.
I crushed it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't think I could get back on that show. I don't think I'm Star Trek informed enough to understand the mechanics of that show because it's an ongoing like structured story.
Yeah.
But as a Star Wars crossover, it was a blast. I got to play a Star Wars character. Mm-hmm. I got to be manic, but I don't think I'd be able to do that long term. It's
a lot of commitment. Well, like especially if you don't know Star Trek, it's like, where are we going?
Right. I would love to do a Star Wars like ongoing thing.
True. There's like a part of me though that's like wondering, that makes it even funnier though that you don't know anything about
like the cast of dudes,
like Star Trek and stuff. Like if you're doing that.
I guess. I don't know. I think that's going to wear itself out, though, pretty quick.
Or it just gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. But then it's not really a Star Trek improv. It's just you doing improv.
Yeah, it's just they're doing Star Trek improv, and I'm just also there doing improv.
You're just like the token guy who doesn't know anything about Star Trek. I don't know anything about Star Trek.
The token guy. The token Star Wars guy?
The token Star Wars guy. No, they're just the token normal dude who doesn't know anything about Star Trek.
Everybody that isn't Star Trek nerds are token normal dudes.
Yes.
Wow. You heard it here first, Otherworld. Calvin hates you.
That's exactly what I said. Clip that.
So, okay, what have you been up to since our show 2 years ago?
2 years? 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Was it longer than 2 years ago? It was only 2?
It was 2.
Oh, I felt like it was longer. I don't know. Okay. Yes, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Man, not like as much as I wish. I feel like I've done a lot of...
All right, guys, that has been SilverPod. Thank you for tuning in.
There we go. I just eat and sleep. That's all I do.
You've been doing theater, though.
Don't
be modest. You haven't been just sitting around.
No, I've just been sitting around, but I have a lot of heavy goals for myself, I feel like, as artists do, and I just feel like I always try and do more and more and like trying to figure it out. But growing and realizing that I am just having faith and going through the punches is what it's all about. So, I mean, I've done a lot of voiceover stuff. I work with a company called The Merry Beggars, and they have this podcast series called The Saints, and they're going through each saint, and they're doing like a 5-episode series on each one, and it's like a scripted podcast with like they have like 10, 13 actors, and you have like 2 rehearsals, and you all get in a room and do the show.
You only do 2 rehearsals?
Yeah, you do like a reading of the thing, the reading of the script. You do a dialogue, like a dialect couching, because they try and do accurate like dialect depending on what saint they're talking about.
This is
like
why
that.
I don't do the Merry Beggars.
Yeah, well, you should. They're
My
fun.
dialect work is awful.
Well, that's why there's a dialect coach, and they also say give it your best shot. Some of them they don't. Sometimes they don't always do it, just because it sometimes eats up a lot of time. If it's a really long script, sometimes they don't. But
so, are you doing any of those right now?
Not right now. I'm gonna start getting back into them. So I was jumping between jobs for a little bit, and I was a coffee shop manager for like 2 years in Wicker Park, and I was like, I need to try and figure something else out because this wasn't really working, and I got a job at a corporate company, a manufacturing company, being their showroom manager. So I like to help plan events and like worked with the sales team, and I was in there like giving people tours of the showroom and selling stuff basically. And that was
Where was that?
It was at a company called Human Scale. So they're a manufacturer who makes chairs and like ergonomic office.
Be careful, you're going to
supplies.
destroy the perception that actors make a living off of.
Oh yeah,
off of the
right. Well, currently I left that job a few weeks ago at the end of April because I was like, I can't see myself, even though it was decent money and steady job. I just like couldn't. It just wasn't for me. Like I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
The day job life is a real thing. I don't think people talk about it that much.
No, everyone's like, you talk about the grind of people being like, well, we're bartenders, we work till 2 a.m., and we just grind.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, you have to have enough energy to be able to do the acting stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're working every day from 9 to 5 or even stuff after that, it's like, even if you have the energy, it's just like, it just sometimes gives you an excuse to be like, well, I already worked today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And it's like, you got to get out of like a mindset of, you just got to find a balance, really. And so right now I've been just freelancing work, and I've been doing okay. I was doing like there's extra work and like background work in the city of Chicago. And so they're not filming a ton right now, but usually there's like a slow season and things hopefully pick up in the summer.
Where have you extra'd?
A couple different shows. I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about them? Maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're doing like a spin-off series of Reacher. I won't say the title just because I don't know what rules. Reached. Yeah, there we go. And then there was the season 2 of Dark Matter for Apple TV Plus. So I'm just playing background stuff though.
Yeah.
But those are the only 2 I've been on.
It's fun.
They're filming a movie in town right now called Enemies, which is with Jeremy Allen White and Austin Butler, there's a lot of filming going on for that at the moment.
The sequel to the movie Enemy starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Oh. Is that a movie? Do
you remember that movie?
Enemy.
Where
that movie's called
he
Enemy.
plays like it's a dual role. He's playing 2 different.
Is it the Spider movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the weird Spider
weird
movie.
It makes no sense.
From Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune and
Yes.
Prisoners.
Yes.
Anyway, that's not what this.
That's not what that is. But yeah, so I've done a bunch of extra work since leaving that job, and I also have been doing some like handyman work with a guy I met through Human Scale when I was working there, and that's been really nice because it's pretty good money, and it's just been nice to kind of work here or there and make just as much as I would if I worked that full 9 to 5 for a week. So it's been good to do that, and then just auditioning a lot. Since Star Wars, I did a film with I think it was after. Yeah, it was after. I did a film with the Johnny Carson Foundation in Nebraska. I went and filmed a original short film that they're doing a festival run of right now called Turnover. It's about these 2 brothers who have tension between them after their father dies, and they go and reconnect over building one of the refurbishing one of the tractors on the farm.
Wow.
So it's a sweet story.
It's like a Sam Shepard play.
Yeah. Is it? Exactly.
It's like an Arthur Miller, Sam Shepard mix up.
Yes, mixed with Hallmark.
Mixed with Hallmark.
Yes. So if you can envision that, that's what it is.
Sam Shepard, but written by co-written by someone from Hallmark.
No.
And Sam Shepard is just dying inside, having to work with this co-writer.
Oh man, it's like, what is happening? 2 very different mindsets. Like 2 people came together with 2 of the same idea, but just different ways of how to approach it, as we all do. But I did that film. I've worked a bunch of like short film projects, and then I was in the choir of Highland Park Players' production of Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I hadn't been in a musical since 2019, and I used to like only do musicals. And I haven't done
Hunchback.
Hunchback was fun. I mean, I was just in the choir, but the choir's intense. They have they're it's crazy because like when that show has like its full like the main cast, full ensemble, and it is written in to have a choir as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a lot of cast. That's a lot of people.
Did you sing like all of the songs? Did you
the choir ones.
Did you sing Hellfire?
Yeah, so like all the choral parts in Hellfire and all that.
Yeah.
It was intense. It was good. It was really fun.
When I get a little older, I want to play Frollo.
Nice.
Like when I'm age appropriate for Frollo, it's Frollo, right?
Frollo.
Mm-hmm.
Froyo.
That's a role that I'm desperate to play. I think he's so like fascinating.
It's great. Yeah, I think go watch the movie. I mean, the movie, he's like the voice actor in that movie is that scene and just that whole everything about it.
Yeah, how on earth did Disney let that happen?
The evilness of it.
How did Disney allow this like manic Catholic? It's Catholicism, right?
For them, yeah.
I mean, it's like an older Catholicism.
Yeah,
it's not because it doesn't feel in any way that they're dishing on any sort of modern.
Yeah, it's just people are.
Religious
It's
sphere,
like people are corrupt in anything. Some
right,
people are corrupt
right.
in anything, right?
But
so.
it's still wild to me that scene exists in a modern kids film.
Well, I think Disney does a lot of different routes, especially in the 80s and 90s. Like they do they tried to go the dark way, like go a little darker with like Black Cauldron, and then you have.
I finally watched that.
I actually just watched it for the first time last week.
I didn't like it.
It was fine. It was nothing like crazy, but
yeah, it was just hyped up for me as like this extreme dark movie, and I get that. There was some dark stuff in it, but the characters were written so annoyingly. Like the main characters were so like. I wanted to gouge my eyes out at the character decisions in that movie.
It's a kids movie, so
yeah.
But
so is Hunchback. Like kids movie doesn't mean bad written.
Well, okay, wait. So when did that come out? That came out in the 80s.
Yeah, it was like 10 years.
But that was the 80s dry spell of Disney.
That's true.
That's when they like were not making any money.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the golden ages of the 90s where everything was like, okay, wait, these are all pretty. Well, I think Little Mermaid was 89, but whatever.
Little Mermaid started it all in 89. Although I would
it.
argue that Rescuers Down Under started it.
Down Under didn't come out till 2000 though.
No, it was before.
Down Under was older, isn't it?
Rescuers Down Under was before Little Mermaid. That was the movie right before Little Mermaid.
That was an 80s movie? I thought it was newer than that. Oh, all right. No. Well, if it is, Down Under is a very good movie.
The original Rescuers is way older than that. It's
way
like early.
70s,
I think it's early 70s and then late 80s is the two Rescuers.
Yeah, okay.
And those two movies are essentially the beginning and end of the same era.
One just ended it on a high note.
right. The Rescuers Down Under is actually a great movie. I actually like that one a lot more than the first one.
Way better.
Yeah, it's so good.
Way better. As a kid, remembering it and like, you know, we're adults here, but I mean, we love animated movies.
Yeah. I just watched Win or Lose, the Pixar show.
Oh, I haven't
Win
seen
or
it.
Lose. Fantastic.
Okay.
So good.
Giving some Inside Out feels with exploring.
It's better than Inside Out. This is the best Pixar that's been made since their like good era.
What was the last good Pixar film?
The last great one was Toy Story 3 in 2010, I would say. And there's been a couple really good ones.
Coco, dude.
Coco's good.
Coco's great.
Coco's very predictable though.
Coco's great.
I'm just saying there's great and then there's like perfection.
And Toy Story 3 was the last perfection.
Yeah, you had Up, WALL-E, and Toy Story 3 back to back to back.
Those three are all very good.
Those are like some of the best.
But
films
you're arguing
ever
you think
made.
that WALL-E's better than Coco?
Yeah.
No.
WALL-E's my number one.
Well, I mean, if that's hey, everyone's entitled to what their opinion.
Right, and everyone's entitled to be wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
Yeah. No, I'd say the best Pixars since then are both Inside Outs, Coco. I really love Luca. Luca got
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, Luca got me. It's the childhood friendship stuff. Yeah. Like the movie's fine, but it like for me it was like everything. I was like, okay, all right, fine. Soul was really good.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good Yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying about the perfection though. Like Up is perfection.
Yeah.
I think Up is everyone knows Up.
Yeah.
Hits you in all the feels
Yeah.
the whole time.
But win or lose though, so good. It's in. Do you know anything about this show?
Somewhat, not really.
It's
Yeah,
like a kids softball team.
okay.
And each episode follows a different character on the team. So you're seeing the same week of storytelling, but from all different characters, and you don't really
different perspectives.
Yeah, different
Each episode's a new
perspectives,
perspective.
which can get really slow and annoying if you don't do it right. But because you don't get the whole story, you're putting the pieces together, and you could watch any individual episode and watch it just by itself, and it's like this solo movie.
Oh, nice.
About
and what's the mystery? Do they win or lose? Is that what are you trying to find out, or is it more so?
I don't.
Or would that give it away or something?
I think the point of the show is to dive into these kids' minds and dive into what it's like to be in those experiences. They're all going through very different things. I compare it to I've said this before, but I compare it to Euphoria, but for 10-year-olds.
Oh my gosh. That's really okay.
Euphoria is let's
you go through each person, yeah.
Yeah, every character is going through the worst of it. Everybody's going through every problem that's imaginable. It's kind of like that.
They're going through the problem as a 10-year-old.
Right.
What a 10-year-old problem.
Right. They're not going through the Euphoria problems, but they're going through...
I would hope not. And Pixar's animating that. They're just going back to the dark ages.
Right. It's actually the same episodes with Zendaya's voiceover and everything.
Perfect. It's just a labyrinth music in the background the whole time.
Yeah. Labyrinth. Yeah, it's great. I love Labyrinth.
It's great. All his music's great. But so Disney, this is something I've been thinking about recently because I saw a video that made me really think about, they're remaking all these live actions and there's some, even not just Disney, but there's so many remakes and so many revamps or just the same story being told again, right? And you have all these big studios making decisions and instead of letting the artists be artists in a sense. And so even when they try and just appeal to audiences, obviously they're still missing. But why do they keep doing it? Why do they keep thinking that this is what the audience wants? Unless there's a majority.
What examples are you talking about?
I just think about every time they do a live action remake, for the most part, they're a miss. I would say. People even said Aladdin was hyped it up so hard. I went and saw it and I hated the live action Aladdin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they make money.
Yeah, they make money. But I think people are starting, I don't know, at least me. Maybe it's an older generation like me.
It'll pass.
Us up and down, but
the live action remakes are at an end.
I
think we'll get a couple more and then it's done.
Well, they got to do the right ones. We need a Treasure Planet and an Atlantis. Those would be fun.
No, but you're gonna have the same issue.
Well, they're already
with
doing
all
it.
of the others. They're adapting great movies, and that's the problem. They're already great movies. The new Lilo and Stitch. I haven't seen it yet, but Lilo and Stitch is a great movie.
Yeah.
And I heard about some of the changes they made, and I'm my first reaction was, I can't believe you made that change. I can't believe you made this change. That was such a good element of the movie. And then I come back to this, you have the same problem at the end of the day, which is, well, you can't just make the same shot-for-shot movie.
That's what The Lion King did.
You can't, yeah, because when you do that, if you made Lilo and Stitch exactly the same, if you didn't make any of those changes that people that people are complaining about, then you end up with Lion King, which is an absolute trash bag
atrocity
of a film.
Sorry, Jon Favreau. Sorry.
This is not Jon Favreau's fault. Jon Favreau tried his best to give it some heart, but it was a shot-for-shot remake. And Lilo and Stitch, this is where it's conflicting for me. I'm like, well, I don't like the changes that I keep hearing about.
Yeah.
But
same.
I also don't want a shot-for-shot remake. At the end of the day, I don't want this remake at all.
At the end of the day, we don't.
At
We
the
don't
end of
need
the
it.
d-
We
we
need
don't
an original
need
idea
it.
that makes another great movie.
Right. Oh, I would love some great original, like, large budget Disney movies.
Yeah, like we need more. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the second and third, fourth,
But they
and
don't.
fifth,
But they don't
whatever,
make money. They like Jungle Cruise. I never saw that.
I didn't see it.
Dwayne Johnson.
It costed a lot,
Yeah.
but
This is why Disney's doing the remakes, because they're the only ones that are a sure hit.
because people will still go see it because they're like, well, we should probably see
Right.
the live action. It's something that they're doing though. I think I don't know. I get it. Well, I don't because money wise, like I get it because they want to make money, but I don't like it. There's like something I saw a side by side thing of like something that. So obviously they're doing this for money, but they need to put a little more heart and soul into it in the sense of there's a reason the original ones are so much more impactful. So I saw a clip recently of like why Beauty and the Beast has like the moment of the Beast finding Belle in the room with the rose, and he like goes after, yells at her and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do not a side by side, but they show you the original animated, and they show you like his presence coming into the room, and you can in an animated movie you can feel, oh crap, like this is bad for her.
Yeah.
And then in the live action, he like rushes in, yells at her, gets her out, and it's like so less impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 20-second scene as opposed to like a minute or two.
Yeah, visually it's lacking.
That's the thing that we need. Like it's not telling a true story then, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not how. Well, some people maybe, but like if you're talking about human experiences, I feel like those things aren't, because they're fitting it into a certain time and they want to fit these certain things in there. They're pushing it into a time capsule, like a time limit, instead of letting human reaction and actual like dialogue. And
I will say though, the best live action quote unquote remakes are the ones that continue the story rather than remaking it. Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton, the first one.
First one.
It's pretty good. It doesn't read. I mean, it redoes some of the story, but it's like it continues the story.
Yeah.
Rather than
dives deeper into it instead of
right.
Yeah.
Christopher Robin.
Great movie.
That's probably my favorite live action remake because it's not a remake. It's just
that's an original. Yeah.
It's an original continuation, but with the modern live action CGI.
Right. I think that one's not a remake. So I think
that's
works.
my point. So like if you did Aladdin, but it was actually a continuation. If you did Treasure Planet,
they did 3 Aladdins. So
if you did
it's
Treasure Planet as a
after.
live action movie and you cast current Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play a grown-up Jim Hawkins.
Yeah.
Because that's who.
So that's continuation of the story.
A continuation of the story. That is the only live action of Treasure Planet that I would want. Because I have that movie. It is the best animated film of all time.
Oh my, that is quite the claim.
And then Iron Giant.
Iron Giant is very good. I don't know about Treasure Planet, but but it is good. But
so no, I don't want a remake.
That's great. Yeah.
I would be fine with a continuation. It might be really good.
Like we said, it's an original idea. Even though like the characters are there, it goes along with what you said all the way back to the beginning of the Shakespeare Star Wars plays. Those stories are totally there, but they're told in a different way, and it like continues and adds new scenes and makes it different in it. Even though it's somewhat of a remake, it's an original idea.
Right.
Of combining those two things together.
Yeah.
Whereas like combining a new story with the characters of Treasure Planet is an original idea.
Yeah.
Why don't people? I think they're going to go away from it because I think hopefully people are starting to realize. And I don't. You see stuff on the news and you wonder, is it actually the majority? Like, do we actually all not like this, or is it just like the artists who are like, eh? And
do we all not like what?
Like the remakes and how that's going? Because I know people who are Disney adults who are like, oh my god, I love the remakes, and I'm like,
sure,
okay. I mean, you can do that. That's cool. Do your thing.
They're making the money. Kids love them.
Yeah. But these are the kids' versions of those already great movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to get a live Coco coming up. Just watch.
Right. Yeah. I want Martin Short in the robot costume of the Treasure Planet continuation.
Voice, yeah, that'd be great.
I don't want him just voicing it. I want like a current Martin Short. Like
he might be kind of rough on him.
He's a little old, but he can still get it. He's still got
True.
it.
I wonder how much you should ask if he would like that.
It doesn't matter. Fantastic. All right. Well, that's Disney, Pixar. They're in a spot where I'm a little tuned out. I'm not watching most of it anymore. But I don't think it's gonna last that long.
No, I think we kind of touched on this last night a little bit when we were talking about Andor and how are the Disney execs not seeing how much people crave that? At least I do. All you hear is slander about the other shows they came out with, for the most part.
But you know what happens when you try to recreate it and you don't get good enough writers? Is those episodes... Did you watch Mandalorian Season 3?
I watched the first episode and I was like,
they pull an Andor halfway through. They leave your story and they go to Coruscant and they just tell like a full hour-long story featuring other characters. And it's very slow. It feels like Andor, but it's just slightly worse.
Oh no!
But this and I actually really enjoyed it.
Well, I was
really
confused
did.
at why they made a third season, because the second season ends how it ends, and you're like, wait, why is he with Grogu again?
Yeah.
In the third season, I didn't watch. You can spoil it. I mean, I didn't watch it, so I don't.
No, I don't need to spoil much. I just the Andor problem is that kind of story, the slow, melodic, not a ton of action story, does not work unless you get the best writers in the business.
Which is why you have shows like Breaking Bad, which is a slow burn. And so, I don't think it is. People say it is. But Better Call Saul, which is a very slow burn, but it's written very well, so it works. It's that makes sense. That makes sense.
Let us switch gears here and
I'm in.
Talk about some Shakespeare.
Cool.
Shakespeare talk.
Yeah.
Our podcast has been a lot of Shakespeare talk because we just wrapped up our show, Much Ado About Nothing. Calvin here was not involved with Much Ado About Nothing. He is our first guest from the other world, the world of Chicago theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That world far away.
Oh wait, not Otherworld Theater Company.
No, but
I just meant the other world.
Chicago's just a different beast of a world.
Chicago is a very different beast. I used to live in Chicago. To give a little bit of context, that is where I met Calvin. Yep. I was living in Chicago for 3 years, and eventually I left. I moved. The industry kind of got to me. I everything was very underpaid. And
meter wise,
and the audiences are small. Everything's oversaturated. I don't know. I don't want to get too cynical with it. This is just my experiences. My experiences of Chicago theater was theater is oversaturated. There's too much. There's not enough audiences for it. I was countless over and over and over again. I was seeing shows where the audience was like 8 people. And I stage managed a show right after we did Trade Federation, and it was like. There were 13 cast members, and every single show, we did 9 performances. Almost every performance, we had more cast members than we did audience members. Oof. That's awful. Something's got to change. But
is it a marketing thing, or what? What do you think
that one was kind of a marketing thing. It was also an original show that didn't have name recognition.
Yeah, I think was it just a local?
I don't need to name drop some stuff, but. It just didn't work financially, for the audience, for the people didn't latch on.
Yeah. And
so I got out. Maybe I'll go back, but I've started this company out here. So as long as Silverstage does well,
show up, people.
So if you guys want me to move back to Chicago, you should make sure this company does poorly.
There you go. Do it. No, don't do it.
I dare you.
Don't do it. Yeah, oversaturation is crazy. There's so many. I'll see so many. Specifically, I don't know. The theater world's I'm kind of picky choosy sometimes with what I'm auditioning for.
I also like that I said let's talk Shakespeare, and then I went
theater world.
I went a completely different route.
He said let's talk Shakespeare and say that we talk about Shakespeare a lot. So I'm going to talk about this, but we want to talk about Shakespeare.
But I like what you're about to say, so let's just keep going with this.
We'll go back. We'll wrap it around. We'll connect it somehow. Yeah, there'll be musical auditions where they even for Highland Park Players where I did the Hunchback. Yeah. only the leads were paid. Like it's kind of a community, but not really. It's like a upper level community theater. I'd say. I don't know how to explain
paid
it.
with a good time.
Yeah. Yes, but they still had. They said 350 submissions.
Wow.
Virtually.
Yeah.
And then there was another company that they do really good work in the city musical wise, and they're really close to me. So I'll get in there eventually. We'll see. But they had a show not too long ago, and they sent us all emails, and they said, we are overwhelmed by the submissions. We will get back to you all alphabetically because these are the most submissions we've ever received ever. And they didn't tell us the number, but I'm guessing it was 5, 6. Like it had to be something crazy for them to like.
Poor George Zaremy.
Who's that?
Someone with the last name with a Z.
Oh, the Z. So you're supposed to know. Don't let me look stupid. Who is that? Yeah. So the oversaturation is a real thing. I think with the theaters and things, it's just that's how you get connected and growing to get to the next step.
Yeah.
But then people get just stuck in that loop, and like then you end up doing a show for 2 months. You get paid $200, which is like okay. They pay me $200. They paid for my gas or my travel there, but like. If you're all trying to be a working, thriving actor, like that doesn't work. You have to get
you have to do 3, 4, 5 gigs at a time, and you're jumping
gotta,
from
gotta
show
get
to show
what
to
you
show.
really need to do is get a union gig, but you can't get
Yeah.
a union gig. Well, you could. You got to be that one non-union person who they're like, oh yeah, we like you. Get in here. It's just it's hard sometimes.
But when you're an actor like me who doesn't really want to do the dance side, I'm not really into musicals.
Well, I mean, there's union calls for play.
Yeah, there are, but most actors that I know that are on the track to like Actors Equity Union, they're the dancers and singers of the theater industry.
That's where all the money is.
That's where all the money is. But whoever said that I was here for the money? I know
I mean, it'd be nice.
I know multiple theater owners who have day jobs. Like
there's tons of
and that's where I'm talking about like breaking down the mythology that like. There's the people who've made it and the people who haven't.
Why do you think there's like the A-listers who have like sponsors? They come up with this alcohol. They come out with this thing and this thing.
Right. They need the money.
Well, those guys are fine now, obviously, but like there's a reason that they dip their toes into all these different things because that's how. If you have a following, actors are technically, for lack of a better term, a product in a sense. Like you're selling yourself, right?
Yeah.
So. If you have a following and people are behind the product and then that product sponsors another product, then those people are most likely going to follow that and keep going and the cycle keeps going, right? But for people who aren't at that level, everyone has a job. I mean, I'm freelancing right now, but I'm actively looking for work. And even if it's just extra work, it's money. And if it gets me by for now, it gets me by for now. It's always... It's an ever-changing cycle, and that's the hardest thing I've learned. I've been in Chicago since 2020. September, I've been there. I've been there for 5 years. Oh my, that's crazy. Moving to Chicago in 2020 was crazy.
Yeah,
really good time to do that as an actor.
2020.
Yeah, really smart on my part, but whatever. I was just ready to get out, move around, and branch out. You know, so I did that, but. My biggest thing then was like, how do I make enough to be able to do the things I want to do?
Yeah.
With having, that's the dance, I guess. Having enough energy and making enough money so that you can do the things you love. And I don't know. There's a lot of people trying to do it too. So it's a thing about just got to have hope and just keep, I think the people that really make it in some sense are the people that stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I graduated college in 2019, and, we just keep going.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, I didn't leave Chicago with no intention. I left to start a company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not that you have to be in Chicago.
And I knew that starting a company in Chicago didn't make sense to me. Everybody's starting companies in Chicago. Mm-hmm. They don't need more.
Lake Geneva's a tourist pop-in place.
Yeah, so we've done 2 shows in Lake Geneva, and it's been a blast. Honestly, I think the future of Silverstage is going to have a few shifts in venues and the format. I'm going to keep adapting the format.
You're new. How long has Silverstage been?
1 year.
Right. So every year you find a new path or a new goal and move towards it, even if it's different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's the business plan, right? Like, where you want to be here to here.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so I have an idea. This is a complete shift again.
All right. Shakespeare.
Organization doesn't matter. Not Shakespeare. I have an idea. I think we should do a little reading.
Oh, okay.
I have 2 scripts of All My Sons here.
Oh, great.
And do you know All My Sons?
Yes, I do. I saw you in it. Too. I also know it decently well.
Okay, here. I'm gonna give you the script here.
Different colors are they the same?
This is from 2. I've done 2 different plays of All My Sons, and
nice.
I don't want to play anybody that I've played before. I want to look at the Chris and George. We got to find a good Chris and George moment. Remember George, the brother who comes in partway
at the end,
in the middle,
or where he's the one who's talking about he's talking about him, right? And where he's talking about like the day with the dad,
yeah,
right? And he's talking about there were defects and all this stuff.
Yeah, okay, there are defects. Yeah. He's trying to he's trying to show the family that they're all falling for the dad's schemes. Page 53,
Dude,
54?
53.
Let's start on 54 right after the and
Chris
stuff. So
George,
the and isn't, because we don't have an and with us. You play Chris, because I've played Chris before, and I don't want to.
So there's and in 54, 55 still.
Only a tiny bit.
Do you want to just skip her lines, or do you want me to read her too?
Is there any moments without Anne? I feel like she's there.
Not
the
in
whole
that
time.
scene, because then Kate comes in, and then
George is only in one scene of the play.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 54, 55 is the best part.
Right. I'll read Anne too.
Okay, great. No. Read Anne. There's only like 2 or 3 lines. Great.
Where would you like to start?
Let's see what happens. I'll start at the top. This is going to be interesting because George is usually never cast by.
I'm gonna get a drink of something quick before we start.
yeah. Take a sip. George is usually like unless tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like George is usually like a bigger. No,
he doesn't have to be.
He doesn't have to be.
He's like a military guy, isn't he?
Yeah, they're both kind of military guys.
I think you can cast it however.
You can cast it however you want. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what George is like today.
And
I'm excited to see your. Have you played Chris?
I haven't been in the play.
You've never been in this play. Yeah, I'll start.
I've seen it and I know it. It's, good old fashioned Arthur Miller. Really happy.
Okay, I'll ask you something, and look me in the eye when you answer me.
That's his first line too. That's funny.
That's what I'm reading.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were just telling me something.
I'll ask you something, and look me in the eye when you answer me.
I'll look you in the eye.
You know your father.
I know him well.
And he's the kind of boss to let 121 cylinder heads be repaired and shipped out of his shop without even knowing about it.
He's that kind of boss.
And that's the same Joe Keller who never left his shop without first going around to see that all the lights were out.
The same Joe Keller.
The same man who knows how many minutes a day his workers spend in the toilet.
The same man.
And my father, that frightened mouse who never buy a shirt without somebody along, that man would dare do such a thing on his own.
On his own. And because he's a frightened mouse, this is another thing he'd do. Throw the blame on somebody else because he's not man enough to take it himself. He tried it in court, but it didn't work. But with a fool like you, it works.
Chris, you are a liar to yourself.
Don't talk like that! Tell me, George, what happened? The court record was good enough for you all these years. Why isn't it good now? Why did you believe it all these years?
Because you believed it. That's the truth, Chris. I believed everything because I thought you did. But today I heard it from his mouth. From his mouth? It's altogether different from the record. Anyone who knows him and knows your father will believe it from his mouth. Your dad took everything we have. I can't beat that. But she is one item he's not going to grab. Get your things. Everything they have is covered with blood. You're not the kind of girl who can live with that. Get your things.
Anne, you're not going to believe that, are you? You know it's not true, don't you?
That was Anne.
I know.
I was telling them.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
How can he tell you? It's his father. None of these things ever even crossed your mind.
Yes, they cross my mind. Anything can cross your mind.
He knows, Annie. He knows.
The voice of God.
Then why isn't your name on the business? Explain that to her.
What the hell does that have to do with...
Annie, why isn't his name on it?
Even when I don't own it?
Who are you kidding? Who gets in when he dies? Open your eyes. You know the both of them. Isn't that the first thing they would do? The way they love each other. J.O. Keller and son. I'll settle it. You want to settle it, or are you afraid to?
What do you mean?
Let me go up and talk to your father. In 10 minutes, you'll have the answer, or are you afraid of the answer?
I'm not afraid of the answer. I know the answer, but my mother isn't well. I don't want to fight here now.
Let me go to him.
You're not going to start a fight here now.
What more do you want?
Someone's coming. You won't say anything now. You go soon. I'll call a cab.
Yeah, now you play all the characters?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. George is a great character. He pops in just briefly.
Well, he really forces everyone to come to terms, right?
Yeah, because Chris is like...
Chris is an emotional wreck the whole time, really. But he doesn't let it out till the second half.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that he's a wreck. He's like in denial for the whole time.
I think it's like sign of the times in a sense, too. And even today, everyone's still figuring out where, like, men being in touch with their emotions, right? In a sense.
What's that?
Well, especially then, though. Like, when that came out, like, that's...
Yeah.
Trauma wasn't dealt with, I don't think. I mean, now it is more so. And is starting to become more of a talked about thing or a thing that's realized.
Good play, though. Arthur Miller. That guy's actually pretty talented.
Yeah, maybe. You would think.
You haven't done any Miller shows?
Oh, wait, Crucible?
Oh, yeah, Crucible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've both been Proctor.
No, I was Hawthorne.
Oh, you were Hawthorne.
I was barely in it.
Oh, you were Hawthorne. Okay.
That play is crazy. Like, Hawthorne's such a wild character.
Yeah.
Because he's like, have a line, and like you're on stage that whole time.
He's on
But you
stage
have a
lot.
line, and then you're like memorizing that was so crazy because I was like, okay, I got to memorize a couple different cue lines so that I know when my line is coming, because there's a lot of there's a lot of ranting in that show.
Sure.
And a lot of back and forth dialogue, yada yada yada. And then he'll just interject, and then he'll have like 4 pages of nothing, and then he'll say something else, and you're like, oh my gosh. Which is like, and I only was Hawthorne. I wasn't anybody else.
Yeah.
So it was like a wild...
long pauses, and then he just decides
he's not
to
even
interject.
in the first act. Like,
No, he's not in the first act, and he's in a little bit of the last act, but mostly he's in the second act.
I mean, he's on stage for the last act. He has like his like speech kind of talking to them, but the 2 judges are my favorite characters in that because they're genuine.
Hawthorne and Danforth?
Yeah. Danforth is a good character.
Danforth's great, yeah.
Yeah. Just really trying to get to the bottom of everything.
Yeah. No, I appreciate I'm blanking on the actor's name. I'm gonna beat myself up later. But the actor in the Ben Whishaw version of Crucible, are you familiar with this at all? Ben Whishaw played John Proctor. You know Ben Whishaw?
If I saw
Proctor,
his face.
John Proctor. He is Paddington the bear. It's funny.
If I saw his face, I would know.
This is the second podcast in a row that I've talked about Ben Whishaw. I love Ben Whishaw.
Benny Boy.
Benny Boy. He played Richard II in with Patrick Stewart.
I feel like I know the face. Once I see him,
He's
I'll
in.
know.
He's been in quite a lot of stuff, but he played John Proctor, and the guy playing Danforth played him not as the villain. And I love that. I love when an actor decides that Danforth should not be portrayed as a villain, but you can play it as a villain. You could. I think it's an easy decision to decide Danforth should be played like sleazy and manipulative.
Yeah, but I think everyone else is all. Yeah. Okay. No, keep going. Sorry.
But this guy didn't, and he was. I remember seeing these clips, and he's pleading with Proctor to well, I don't want to spoil the ending, but he's pleading with Proctor
Of the Crucible.
If
People know the Crucible. If they don't, sorry, the spoiler can happen.
Go watch Ben Wishaw's Crucible. Actually, I don't know if the full recording is out there. Go watch Daniel Day-Lewis's The Crucible. Mm-hmm. It's a great one too. Love Daniel Day-Lewis.
Wild. He's intense in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that play We're going Arthur Miller, everybody. But
This is our Shakespeare conversation.
yes, perfect. He was modern day Shakespeare in a way.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth conversation, and you're like, "Yep, they've said it already."
Arthur
Keep
Miller?
going. I feel like it.
Yeah.
That show is all like you said. He knows. He just needs to hear his dad confess it.
Right.
But it's like we already know what we know.
Yeah.
In a sense. But when I was in it, the guy who played Danforth, really great. But played it in that sense, just really trying to get to the truth of it.
Right.
And he played it not more. I mean, he was authority. He was authoritative and things like that. But it wasn't like he was evil. Back then, the paranoia was crazy. But he's really trying to get to the truth of it, which can be perceived as an evil person. But how they were doing it, everyone else was just pointing fingers.
Yeah, but he
Bad,
also
evil,
doesn't accept the other outcome.
Right. He just accepts listening to the adults.
He refuses to accept like Hale's pleading or anybody pleading with him to consider an
that's
alternative
true.
route.
He's
like
only
he's
listening.
he's a very stubborn character. So you're right. He genuinely does want the truth, but he refuses to believe
All sides of the story.
he doesn't believe
Yeah.
that the other version of the truth could be a possibility.
He just wants them to prove that they're guilty.
Right. He
He
does
assumes that they're guilty, but he needs the proof.
Yeah, he needs the
without
proof.
hearing.
So he wants to be a good judge, but he's
doesn't care if they're innocent.
yeah. So very complex characters, and similar to Shakespeare, also Arthur Miller throws you in the action. He doesn't start the story at the beginning of the story. He starts the play like a week after the story has started.
Well, Shakespeare kind of throws you in at the beginning. I would
Not
say
always.
not always, but you'll have like the beginning. Oh,
I mean, in
Not
Much
really.
Ado
He's
About
like-
Nothing, the villain Don John has already had like an uprising and has already had all these grievances
right, but
with
he
his
can
brothers.
do it because he just talks about it all. Like he brings you in.
But so does Arthur Miller.
yeah, okay.
Arthur Miller is filled with exposition, but he writes it so well
Yeah.
that like the entire first third of that play of All My Sons is just filling the audience in on what's happened previously.
Mom's upset.
Right. But because he does it because everybody's so passionate and like that exposition works. Even though he could have just like had a narrator enter the stage and be like, here's what's happened at the start of our play. Now let's jump in.
How is that interesting?
No, it's not.
Well, so every play then starts in the action.
I don't think every play starts in
Not
the
in
action.
the action, but like not every play has someone come out and go, "This is what's going on."
Right. No, I mean at the end of the day you're getting into like just good writing techniques.
Right.
Like it's a good idea to start mid-action.
Yeah, okay, wait. Yeah, okay. Yes. You're right.
But I think some people do it a lot better than others.
gotta have that contrast.
My favorite Arthur Miller play is actually The Price. It's
I don't know.
4 characters. It's just 2 brothers who are arguing over their dad's estate. And then this like 85-year-old Russian like dealer comes in and is like just haggling them the whole time. Danny DeVito played it on stage.
Of course.
And Mark Ruffalo and Tony Shalhoub were the 2 brothers.
Whoa.
And I don't remember who the wife was in that play, but there's also
So
one.
it's 2 brothers, a wife, and there's Russian.
Yes.
He's Russian.
It's
dude.
just the 4 of them. It's a full-length play. It's 2 acts, but it's like it's so good. It's so small compared to his other plays. Crucible is this grand story about witch hunts, and The Price is like 2 brothers in a room trying to deal with their trauma.
5 feet apart.
5 feet apart. So I've quite enjoyed our conversation on Shakespeare. I appreciate.
Yes, I hope you all have too. I hope you've learned something, felt
Right.
something, and gotten something more out of what we've talked about with the shakes.
To before we end today, I'll ask you this: what is your favorite Shakespeare play? We gotta give him a little Shakespeare. I can't tease it for an hour
Favorite
straight.
Shakespeare. So it used to be King Lear, but recently, Julius Caesar, I think, is my favorite. From what there's a lot of them, Shakespeare plays, but from what I've read of them and monologue-wise seen of, there are
Julius Caesar's a juicy.
Julius Caesar's just so juicy. There's so much going on, and like for such a dark play, finding the little comedic moments of like the tent scene, and like the crazy stuff that's going on is just, I think the betrayal of like with all the different mindsets of like Mark Antony and Brutus and everybody, like it's everyone's got their own agenda, and it really, the writing in that I think is my favorite. I think some of the writing in there is
and the way all the threads come together.
Yeah, and the devastation. I think Mark Antony's character is like the devastation of him is just crazy too. And they all come together, and of course, when things go south, when you do bad things will happen to the rest of you. Like all the stuff that happens to Brutus with his wife and everything too. It's just like everything unfolds in just such a bad demeanor, and like
I do think Brutus is my favorite character in that play.
Yeah, well, it's
just favorite written character.
It's probably and that's he's a main character, I would say.
I watched that play live at Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Ontario. Didn't know a thing about the play. Also forgot about like the main
what was going like why is it what it was about?
Yeah,
like the killing of him and stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about all that like historically, and so. It was all like I'm in the audience going,
hey,
yeah. I haven't read Antony and Cleopatra though. I don't know that one.
You don't know it?
The sequel?
Yeah, it's sad.
Is it sad?
It's good.
Okay,
I've read that one.
I want to watch.
You can watch it on National Theater. They do. Ray Fiennes plays Antony.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Love Ray Fiennes.
Yeah,
appreciate you not calling him Ralph.
Oh, trust me, I don't know how long ago, but I realized his name was not Ralph.
Yeah, for anybody who's interested, the actor that plays Voldemort is not named Ralph Fiennes.
No, his name is not Ralph Fiennes. I thought
Ralph
his name,
Fiennes.
That's what I used to say all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like Ralph Fiennes, but it is Ray Fiennes. Spread the word.
Isn't he Irish? What is he?
I think he's from Wales.
Oh,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Sorry, Ray.
Sorry, Ralph.
How dare
Thank you for coming on to SilverPod.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
This has been SilverPod, a Silverstage Theater Company podcast. Stay tuned. We will be announcing our coming show soon. All right. Thanks, Calvin.
Bye, y'all. Thanks.